Oh my, talk to me, look at my, oh my, cause I'm a wego. Pabo, sour pabo. Pabo, no pabo.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to some of you, depending on where you're listening to us from. You're welcome to Biafra Radio. I will advise that you invite somebody and share this gospel of freedom. Share this gospel as much as you can. The opportunity to be educated on the government of the kingdom of God on earth. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Biafra Radio app. We are live on Biafra Radio page on Facebook. We are live on Alpha Media page on Facebook. We are live on Tari, Nemi page on Facebook. We are live on various platforms. We are live as well and ensure it gets to the ends of the earth. We must continue. Let us pray. Abba Father in heaven, we thank you. We praise you for there is no one else like you. We adore you. We worship you because you are the only belongs to you. And to no other. You are the driver of this motto. You are the driver. Our trust is in you. Our hope is in you. Our hope is in no other. We do not trust in man. We do not trust in the abilities of man. We do not trust in the wisdom of man. But our trust is in you, O Tamara. Tamara, we ask you to preserve our leader, keep him safe and sound. Even as he's going through health challenges and as he's going through treatments, Lord, we ask that to take over and treat him. That at the end of the day, he shall return to us safe and sound, carrying the flag of Biafra back to the land. That all those that have committed themselves for the destruction of our land, for the destruction of our people, and those that have committed themselves to tell lies and fabricate lies upon the holy land of Biafra, Lord, we ask that they shall be destroyed and everything about them, their names and everything shall be forgotten, that they shall be wiped out from the surface of the earth. Lord, we pray that your sons and your daughters that are committed to the truth, that they should stand forever, irrespective of the intimidation, irrespective of the deception and the deceit going on all around. Lord, we ask that you keep them strong in mind and in spirit, that they do not give up, that they do not slack back, that they do not move to the right, nor move to the left. All these we pray in of Tamara. Chukukike Abiyama. Ogene. Ise. More power. Today, we are handling a topic I title Civilization and Justice. Civilization and justice. What is the relationship between civilization and justice? Are there relationships between civilization and justice? Is there a relationship between civilization and justice? What is civilization and what is justice? What is the correlation between civilization and justice? How does justice affect civilization? Is civilization dependent on justice in any way or form? Is justice defined by civilization? These are certain thoughts that should be in the heads of anyone looking into this topic of civilization and justice. First of all, what is civilization? When you want to look into a matter, you have to be able to understand what you're looking into. What is civilization? That is the question. What is civilization? Civilization is a stage of human social and cultural development and organization that is considered most advanced. Okay, so this Oxford Dictionary. Oxford Dictionary says that civilization is that stage, the stage of human social and cultural development, and the organization of this that is considered most advanced. That is the most advanced state of human development. You can also say it's a process by which a society or place reaches an advanced stage of social and cultural development and organization. That is civilization. And when you're talking about civilization, you're talking about the advancement of this society. The advancement of the society. The cultural advancement. The social relationship between people. The social relationship, the advancement between people, between humans, human relationship, and how they understand each other, and how they move, how they make progress together. A high state of this is called civilization. The world, from different generations, has experienced different times over the years. Some civilizations are known, some are lost, some have developed into today, some are destroyed. Today, many people go to Egypt this Egyptian civilization is actually the Nubian civilization. Egypt is a society that was civilized by Nubia. Many people do not know. It is a Nubian society that primarily civilized Egypt, but the Egyptian story is everywhere because the Europeans, it was in Egypt, the Greeks that civilized their own locality, which is Greece, from which they civilized Europe. So the record they have is that of Egypt. But most of what Egypt knew started in Nubia, which is today called Sudan. The original name is Nubia. The original name is Nubia. That place should not be called Sudan. Sudan is actually the name that's Latin calls whereby the Niger area, Nigeria, and Niger are named. Okay, so Sudan is just the same thing, but in the Arab language. It's just the same thing, but in the Arab language. So, but the original name, their ancient name is Nubia. That is the ancient name of that country. So the civilization organizing of themselves and all began in Nubia. And do not forget, Nubian kings ruled Egypt many times. And even before they even ruled Egypt, there was that relationship, okay, in which the Egyptians learned and developed and did exactly the same thing. So Nubia and Egypt were very close neighbors that sometimes in history were more like one country, and some other times they were neighbors, depending on the particular monarchy at the time. So there are different civilizations. Some civilizations are lost entirely today. And we're going to look into what makes civilizations, why do we lose civilizations? Some civilizations are lost and forgotten. And with archaeological findings, people are discovering, but how can people be able to develop? People will be able to develop if they have understanding amongst themselves. For any society to develop, there must be an understanding. Because humans, man is a political animal. Everybody can behave the way they want to behave. So there must be a form of understanding, and that understanding must be guided by laws. In the sense that if somebody breaks it, then the person will have to pay. So there will be penalty to those laws. And if somebody obeys it, the person should be free and all of that. So there are laws that guide the society, or there should be laws to guide the society where justice come into play. So when people come together, when they are advancing and they are making progress, they are trying to develop, because one man cannot develop a city. One man cannot develop a society. Collective thing, it must be collective. It must involve other people. Okay? It must be something that involves majority of the people. Majority of the people must have this understanding. That is why it talks about cultural development. It must become like a culture. The majority of the people must have this understanding, and everybody flows. Everybody agrees. Everybody understands that this, so that when somebody goes against it, everybody will understand that indeed this person is wrong and this person is wrong. And that is where lawyers come into play, because it is lawyers that interpret the law to say this person is wrong, this is the law, this is the law, this is the law. Because when a society gets very much advanced, there will be many laws. And if somebody do not understand the law, a wicked person might manipulate the law in order to commit wickedness. Meanwhile, the law was not put for wickedness. The law was not designed to destroy. The law was designed to build, because the law was designed to keep everyone together. The law was designed for peace. In the case of Africa today, the African society, primarily, the African society is suffering a lot. Why? When the Europeans came here, one of the things that they did was to destroy the civilizations that were in Africa. When they destroyed everything that you believed in, demonized everything that you believed in, they destroyed your civilization. And they told you that it is their own civilization that is good. And Africans accept hook, line, and sinker. It is true that the Europeans had their own civilizations, because the way the world was, but the whole world, different places interact. You know, when civilizations interact, You give me, and I do at my pace. If we allow ourselves to develop in the same way, at the end of the day, my civilization and part of it will be part of my civilization. But in a situation where everything of my civilization is washed away, the strength of my civilization, the weakness of my civilization, everything is washed away, and I'm made to accept yours, then I have become a slave. No matter how advanced your civilization is. Your civilization must come into my life subject to naturally over time amongst my people. That is when I will say that I have developed in my civilization. That is why you see in Africa, you see all these things as a result of slavery civilization, accepting a civilization or running a civilization that was imposed on you without recourse to what your people are used to, without recourse to your own societal advancement and your own societal development. Because what we have now is shambles. In most countries in Africa, what we have is shambles. Because our own civilization, which is the reality to us, our own civilization, which is the reality to us, is actually fighting, okay, it is fighting the alien civilization. Our own civilization is fighting the alien civilization. And there is no balance. There is no balance whatsoever. That is exactly what is going on. Now, for any society to survive, there must be peace. For any society to develop, there must be peace. For any society to advance from one stage to another, there must be peace. There must be understanding. And peace, understanding, and development can only thrive where there is justice. A society that celebrates can never know peace. It doesn't matter how you do it. If there is injustice to one, there is injustice to all. And that means that if one person is suffering injustice, if one person is suffering injustice, he is not alone. It means that another person, if you think it's just that person alone, that injustice will creep to another person. It will creep to another person until it will creep to you that is supporting the injustice. So there is no injustice and expect to have an advanced society, to have a civilized society. Justice is not part of the culture. A society that do not value the peace, because if you don't value justice, you don't value peace. When you look at some of the advanced societies in the world today, and where they talk about justice and or at least justice within their own countries, They don't talk about justice in the world because they are the ones. When I am practically talking about the West. They are the ones spreading injustice. They are the ones spreading injustice. So, but within their own countries, they make sure that there is justice within their locality so that one day their country will not implode as it is about to happen to the zoo. The zoo have celebrated injustice for too long. Journalists that are supposed to be telling the truth are everyday politicians tell lies somehow, but the journalists are supposed to be telling the truth. But the journalists, because they are afraid of politicians, or because they're actually working for a station, TV, radio, as the case may be, or newspaper that is owned by a politician that wants to hide the truth. Independent journalists are intimidated, and many of them, for them to have their own personal peace, they will hide the truth. They will not want to tell the truth. When there is tyranny and intimidation, if it is not being called out, it will continue and it will thrive. And it means that injustice will rule. And if injustice continues to rule, the society cannot advance. Now, we have seen in the zoo, we have seen the activities of the DSS, what the DSS is doing to Mazi and Kanu. Many people are keeping quiet. The government had their way against court orders and all. Injustice, thriving. Emefiele was part of the previous administration. He's also a Biafran, but he said nothing. He did not resign in protest. He maintained the position that he had. I'm sorry if you're listening to us from my page, Tari, Nemi. Please go to Biafra Radio. Biafra Radio. Logging out from there, from my page, my Tari Nemi page. You can continue listening to us from Biafra Radio page or Alpha Power Media, as the case may be. We must proceed. So, Emefiele kept quiet, and today he is suffering what he's suffering. And others are keeping quiet. As it is going around, it will still get to those that are keeping quiet. And if they continue to keep quiet, it will continue. And every other person that thinks that they are safe when the law is being attacked, they also will be attacked. Now, The world has advanced from the era of individual nations' advancement to be looking at civilization of the world, civilizing the world, civilizing planet Earth. Some people, one of the things for you to advance a society, you must allow the different civilizations to thrive and organically mix up. For instance, the zoo called Nigeria had different kinds of people with their own different civilizations. There are different ways of life, different culture, and all. Okay, civilization is not static. It's not like it must be in this form. It is according to the people within that area, according to what they agree on. But when different peoples are coming together, there must be a point where they accept each other. In the world today, there is the United Nations. There are laws in the United Nations. The purpose of the United Nations, or the purpose of the primary purpose that the United Nations was supposed to have is supposed to be to advance the world or to guide the different civilizations of the world to develop at their own pace, so that at the end of the day, every citizen of the world benefits from every civilization of the world. That is why there are no restrictions. If you have your visa, you can go to whichever country that you want to, except maybe the country doesn't want you. But you can go there, and there are laws that are supposed to protect you. There are laws that are supposed to guide you. This is the civilization of the world. The rest of the world, India, China, the rest of the world in Asia, they are lucky to still maintain their civilizations. Or I say they are lucky, or they worked hard to maintain their civilizations. And today, the world benefits from it. You go there, you see how they are advancing by themselves, for themselves. And when you're with them, you enjoy their civilization, you enjoy their advancement, you enjoy their growth. It is the duty of everyone in this world to ensure that the laws that are put to keep peace, progress, and justice together are followed. And that is why, for those of us that are Biafrans, and those of us that want Biafra to advance, that want Biafra to develop, our interest primarily is to see to it that our own advancement for our own people is developed. That we must continue from where we stopped, from where the white man stopped us, stopped our civilization, stopped our societal development. Of course, over time, we have learned a lot from the white man's civilization. But we can see that the white man's civilization, everything for the white man's civilization works for the white man. Not everything works for us. So the wisdom is to keep what works for us and to live for the white man what doesn't work for us, and to advance our own society in our own ways, and to continue in the ways of our forefathers that worked that ensured peace and progress in our societies. You know, one danger of this is that human beings do not live for too long. For one person that thinks it doesn't matter, you have a very short time to be in this world. Your children will come, they also have a very short time to be in this world. And you are forced to live a life that is not original to you. There is absolutely nothing that you can gain from that because you are forced to live a life that is not original. Today, the white man thinks that it is better for man and man to marry each other and woman to marry woman. We don't think that way, and we cannot accept it. These are divergent cultures, these are divergent ideologies. But they want to force it on us. If they accept it as their own culture, because that is not science. Many of them have been trying to prove it scientifically that it is normal. No. Some years ago, in their own culture, in their own scientists grouped such activities, such behaviors as a mental case. But today, the reverse is the case. But it doesn't matter what they accept in their societies. Our own society should thrive on what we want. That is what freedom is. That is exactly what freedom is. Your society thriving on your own ideologies, not like in the zoo. In the zoo, what we have are ideologies that are clashing and fighting against each other. The average Fulani man believes that power belongs to God and that anybody that gets into power have right to behave the way he likes. And he also believes that their own people are the people that God have called to have power. So no other person should have power. But you want to be in the country, in the same space with other people. You want to rule over them, but you don't want them to rule over you. Such a thing cannot happen. Such a thing cannot be condoned. But we have politicians that can see, they can see these things clearly, that these folks, their primary ideology cannot work with our primary ideology. We are liberal people. We believe that every man have rights to power. It just depends on time. And we believe that the people have rights. The average Fulani doesn't believe that the people have rights. Provided he can see 3 square meals, he's okay. That's not the ideology of an average Biafran. So we are different people. And muzzling us into one is not going to work. And because justice, when justice is denied, it destroys civilization. When justice is denied, when people begin to feel that there is no justice in the system that runs this civilization, in the system that runs this society, naturally, they will begin to go against it. And that is what you're seeing happening in the zoo. Everybody is going against that system that they are watching. They are going against the system. And if care is not taken, it will implode. This thing is not new. Many people, you must have heard about the Empire of Ghana, the ancient Empire of Ghana, not the country of Ghana as we know it today, but the Empire of Ghana. It was in West Africa, but not on the same space. That empire developed for years, became strong and powerful. But what happened was that within the empire, there were people that did not agree with the activities. Not everybody were being carried along. At the end of the day, the empire crumbled by itself. It imploded. It was destroyed by the forces that it contained. Now, on that case, I cannot primarily say that there was injustice. I'm not that it was injustice that caused that implosion. But injustice is one of the major things that can cause such implosion. And provided Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remains where he is, provided the DSS continue to keep him there against the court orders, against the UN, it means that the zoo called Nigeria is operating on a system of injustice. And provided that continues to happen, the zoo called Nigeria will continue to boil until the ordinary people begin to understand that for us to have peace in our country, it doesn't matter whether I hate this person or whether I love this person. This thing must stop. You see, the injustice in the world and that of UN, you know, after this injustice was done to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, breaking the laws of the United Nations. Britain broke the laws of the United Nations. Yeah, because Britain is behaving as if they have no power over what is happening to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but it is a lie. And the reason they are behaving as if they have no power over what is happening to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is because Britain are complicit. I will keep saying it and I will continue to say it. Britain are complicit in what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and what is still happening to him. So it is Britain that broke that law. Nigeria wouldn't have had the guts to break international laws without the hands of Britain. Britain believed that they can break the laws because they are a permanent member. Because they are a permanent member in the UN Security Council. So they believe that they can break the laws. And of course they did. And the whole world is still keeping quiet. They broke the laws. And now, Russia did exactly what they did. Russia broke the laws. And they have problem with the laws that Russia broke. But they didn't have problem with the laws that they broke. Because they are pretending that they don't know what happened. Because they broke their own in the dark. And Russia broke theirs in the open. And you see, there's a saying that says, if injustice becomes the law, I can't remember exactly how that thing is put, but when in a situation whereby injustice have become the law, then you don't expect everyone to obey the law. And that is exactly what Russia did. The West, that are the ones that have been running the United Nations, they have been breaking the laws of the United Nations and pretending as if they are the ones protecting the laws of the United Nations. They broke the laws of the United Nations when they went to Libya. They broke the laws of the United Nations when they went to Iraq and destroyed Iraq and destroyed Libya to the ground. They broke international laws. They tell you that it is Libyans that attacked Libya. But they did not hide the presence of NATO in Libya. They did not hide it. They did not hide the stealing of gold in Libya. They didn't hide it. They brought Libya to the ground, and today there is no president. There is no proper leadership of Libya. They destroyed Libya. Libya today is the shadow of itself. And these are the people that are the ones enforcing the laws of the United Nations. They are not interested in the advancements in the civilization of this world. Why? They do not believe in justice. They are tyrants. It is only tyrants. What do tyrants do? Tyrants believe that they are the law. The law is not the law in a system of tyranny. In a system of tyranny, the tyrants make themselves the law. So they can break the laws when they like. But if someone else breaks the laws, they will say that it is justice for them to bring that person to book. They will kill that person. They will blackmail the person because the person breaks the law. That is what tyrants do, and that is what the West have made themselves in this world. They have made themselves the tyrants of this world, and that is why you see people all over the world are going against the West and trying to break free, and that is why you see what is happening in Niger, the coups that are going on in Africa. The African society have been put under and subdued by the West for too long, and most especially the countries that have been run by France. France, on a broad daylight, steal from these people. Britain steal from the countries that they run, but they do it in the dark. You know, Britain, they think they are very smart. They like doing things in the dark. And why do they do that? Is because the British people are good people. The British people will speak out. I'm talking about the society, the ordinary people, not the politicians. They will speak out against their government. So what they do when they want to do their evil, they do it in the dark and cover it and take it from the eyes of media so that nobody will be aware. But France does their own in the open. They don't care. And today, Niger has plotted a coup and removed the government that France was running. Niger wants to be free. And Niger sees Russia as a good partner in that. From my view of Russia, Russia is not looking for, they are not looking for vassal states. Russia is fighting for their own freedom. And they need friends. They need the influence of the West to be broken all over the world. So, and these nations, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, these people are taking advantage of it. They are taking advantage of the relationship that Russia offers. And that is what is happening. In case Tinubu, that is leading ECOWAS, that is run by the West, France, USA, and Britain, primarily. Those are the anchor nations of the West. France, USA, and Britain. Very demonic nations. The ECOWAS that is being run by France, USA, and Britain wants these coup plotters, or more or less freedom fighters, to hand over to the people that have destroyed or that have collaborated with the West to destroy their own people. Just as the APC government have been doing, and the zoo government generally have been doing, to destroy the people in the zoo. They have been doing that to destroy the people in the zoo. So these guys are saying, no, we cannot take it anymore. And the ECOWAS is saying that the coup plotters in Niger should hand over to the corrupt government, because all of them are corrupt. Because, you know, it is not possible for the West to steal from the people in other places, in Africa primarily, without choosing corrupt leaders to rule them. Now, it becomes a partnership, because these leaders are corrupt. They know that their own people would not want them because they are corrupt, most especially when the corruption has been revealed. Their people do not want them. So it becomes a collaboration with them and the West. The West is there to protect them. When they do anything to oppress the people, the West is there to back them. And that is why when you're doing anything and your hands are not clean, the corrupt folks amongst you that have power, they will use you. They will be able to use you. The corrupt people amongst you, they'll be able to use you. Why? Because you can no longer stand and tell the truth. How can you tell the truth when the truth will also indict you? And that is why you see, once anybody gets into position of power, even though he wasn't corrupt before, they will try to corrupt him. The essence of corrupting him is so that they can do whatever on his land, and he will not be able to stand against the oppressors. He will not be able to defend his people, because if he does, his own corruption will be revealed, and his own people will lynch him. His own people will destroy him. So the freedom fighters, or the coup plotters in Niger, because I see them as freedom fighters. I don't see them as coup plotters. Yes, they plotted coup, but they are actually fighting for their freedom. They're actually fighting for their freedom. They are fighting for their rights. They are fighting for their own people. Look at what Mali is doing now. The leader of Mali right now is taking every right step, like a freedom fighter should. He's taking every right step to free his people from the bondage of France. He's taking all the right steps. And I'm so proud of him. Young and smart. I only wish that he continues and put his country in the place that it should be. Because we are right now in the season of Africa Renaissance. The Africans are rising up. They are going against, Africans are asking questions, and that is why, in fact, for me, I would recommend that in every African society or country or nationality that wants growth, that wants progress, that wants to break free from the hegemony of the West, they must start by at least choosing young leaders. Why? It is the people, it is the young people that are tired of what their fathers suffered, because the fathers, the old people at the time, okay, You must understand that people above 50, when they were youths, things were not as bad as it is now. You know, when corruption keeps growing, it keeps getting bad, it keeps getting bad. Things were not as bad as it is. They had so much opportunities. So they didn't even care the influence of the West. It's just like when you have abundance and somebody wants to come and take some of it, you feel like there is no problem. You can take some, we can manage with the remaining. But when your children grows up and it is no longer just you, your children now have their own children. So the population of people that should own that wealth have increased. And the one that the minute one that you kept for yourself is no longer enough. Your children will go to the stranger and ask for what belongs to them. So the old men do not care. The old men, in their time, they had all the opportunities and life was fairer. Life was better for them. They don't care. And old people do not change. Old people do not change societies. Old people do not change societies. That is why you don't have old freedom fighters. Of course, there are few men that are freedom fighters that are old, but most of these men started from their youth and they didn't change. A man do not start fighting for freedom when he's old. No. What African nations right now need are people with the mindset of freedom. Because the whole of Africa is in bondage. And that is why, as we're preaching this gospel, we're not just preaching to Biafrans, we're not just preaching to people living in Biafra, we're preaching to every man in a black skin, to every African all over the world. It is time. Everybody must stand up. And every African, one very simple secret, you must stand up and call out injustice wherever it is. Wherever the injustice is, you must call it out. Whether the injustice is far away from you, whether it may never affect you or not, you must call it out. I remember when, I think that was last year, when when the court actually freed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And one popular man in Southern Africa that preaches about the renaissance of Africa and all, he preaches about it on social media, and he has large followership of Africans all over the world. This man publicly celebrated the victory, the court victory of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And I saw in his comment section Africans that frowned at it. And what were they saying? They were saying that we are talking about having one united Africa, and you're celebrating a man that is trying to break a country. And I pitied them. These are young people. Most of these people making these comments, if you look at them, look at their faces, you will see that they are young people. And I was sorry for them. I was sorry for them because even if you want to have Africa's unity, you want to have a united state of Africa, that United States of Africa must be built on the respect of people. It must be built on justice. If it is not built on justice, it will collapse. And Africa will become worse than it ever was. If at all that is possible, if the United States of Africa is ever possible, it must be built on the foundation of justice. And if at all it is ever possible, every locality, every nationality must be recognized, their rights must be recognized, their values must be recognized and respected. Or else what you're building is a bigger bondage, is a bigger estate of slavery. And many of them frowned at it. So, in Africa, in West Africa, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the president of the zoo, and leading these other people in ECOWAS, in West Africa, to go against the other people, the freedom fighters that are liberating their nations, and giving them ultimatum that they must leave and all that. And right now, Mali and Burkina Faso, they have said that is a declaration of war. And some people think that is a joke. If West Africa move into Niger with the military, you should be ready for an unending war in West Africa. You should be ready for unending war in West Africa, because these guys are not there just alone. They are being supported by Russia. They will be given arms and ammunition to fight. It is either you let them be, or you destroy yourself. Of course, if they go into it, Nigeria will be one of the major targets, and the zoo will crumble, the zoo will fall. The zoo will fall very, very easily. Very, very easily. Because once they attack Abuja, and Abuja bows, and the zoo securities, the zoo army lose command for a day, the other units that are seeking for freedom will just become free. The zoo will crumble. And that is what we're even praying for. They should go and try their luck. At least they've been using the army to kill innocent people. Let the army go and see what real war is. They should go and try their luck. Nigeria cuts off electricity to Niger. You see, Nigeria does not have electricity, but Nigeria is giving Niger electricity. Nigeria is giving Niger what they do not have. Nigeria do not have electricity, but they are giving electricity to Niger. They are giving electricity to another country, but they themselves do not have electricity. That tells you that the electricity that Nigeria do not have is not because Nigeria cannot have electricity. It is because the corruption in the zoo called Nigeria is stronger than the will to have electricity. So this issue that they are having with Niger just expose it, that Nigeria is giving Niger electricity. Meanwhile, they are complaining that the electricity in Nigeria is not enough. But Niger is enjoying Nigeria's electricity. So because Niger now want to fight for their freedom, Nigeria have decided to deny them of electricity, to make life more difficult for them. But for me, I am praying that they even go ahead and do whatever they want to do, because at the end of the day, it shall be to the liberation of Biafra and the restoration of Biafra. Because our leader Mazi said something. I don't even think Even if you advise them that they should stop, I don't even think they will stop. Our leader Mazi Kanu said something. He said, I am coming to the zoo and I am coming with hell. He's coming with hell does not mean that it is Biafrans that will give the zoo hell. Of course, the zoo has been facing hell. And Tinubu is giving every citizen much more hell than Buhari ever gave. And each day that passes with Tinubu as president, life becomes tougher and more difficult for those that call themselves Nigerians, per se. So they are giving so much hell. So much hell. So the line is open, is on Signal. You can only get us on Signal. And we're opening the lines now. We're opening the lines. So if you want to call, you can call. You can get us only on Signal. You can only get us on Signal. So the line to call is +49 17352 75073. +49 17352 75073. That is the line to call. You can only call this line on Signal, and you will be able to get to us. You will be able to communicate to the world on this platform. So I take it again, +49 17352 75073. So for any civilization to thrive, for every civilization to make progress, you cannot ignore justice, because there is no development without peace. In any place where there is chaos, people cannot come together to develop. And anything that has to do with societal development has to do with how much peace that the society have been able to develop themselves to maintain. Even to the extent of peace in the home. How much peace in the homes, in the streets, in the offices, everywhere within that society, within that locality, how much peace have they been able to maintain? And how far have they been able to accept people's ideology, this one's ideology and that one's ideology, put them together and develop themselves and advance themselves? That is what civilization is. And that is why in the zoo, what you can see is chaos. There is no civilization. In Africa, generally, there's no civilization. What are you going to say is the African civilization? There is no civilization. Africa is not developing. The world has conspired against Africa. They have put themselves together and they have conspired that Africa must not develop. Why? Because Africa is rich in natural resources. Because of Africa's wealth in natural resources, The world have conspired against Africa, but the Africans themselves must first and foremost, their own interest must be to liberate themselves, because there are no people that are liberated from outside. I mean, no people that are liberated by foreigners. If Africa will be liberated, it will be liberated by Africans. Every man is selfish. They want their own peace. When people in other places are fighting wars, most people don't care, provided they have peace in their own places. If there is chaos in other places, that doesn't affect them. Most people don't care. But why some people care sometimes, now, when there is chaos in Asia, there is chaos in Europe, in the Americas, in Australia, they care. Why do they care? Because one way or the other, they travel to those places. They travel to relax. I'm talking about the ordinary people now. They travel to relax and do other things there. But they don't care when there is chaos in Africa, because the only thing that brings them to Africa is to come and exploit Africa. That's the only thing that brings them to Africa, primarily. So they don't care when Africans kill themselves. And it should be the interest of Africa and Africans for there to be justice and peace within our locality. Because where there is no justice, there cannot be peace. And provided Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remains in that dungeon, there cannot be peace in the zoo called Nigeria. Provided Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is locked up in that place, there cannot be peace in anywhere in Nigeria. Provided they keep on keeping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in that place, locked up, a time will come when no politician will be able to stay in their houses, because the politicians are complicit. All of them are complicit. Doesn't matter where they come from. They are all complicit. They want their Nigeria to continue because Nigeria feeds them. The organization, that system called Nigeria, is where they feed from. They feed fats from that system called Nigeria. So they will do everything to protect it. And they fear that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released, this corrupt system called Nigeria that they hold on to might dissolve within their face. But what they don't know is that this corrupt system called Nigeria that they hold on to will dissolve even faster with them keeping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu there. And before their very eyes, they will see Nigeria crumble and never to rise up again. I said on the last broadcast, I talked about some people that are being held hostage by the zoo. Some Biafrans that are being held hostage by the zoo. They actually did nothing wrong other than fighting for their freedom. And freedom fighting is not a crime. like I stated earlier. And I will continue to mention their names. The security operatives must release Ikenna Chibeze. They must release Ikenna Chibeze. Ikenna Chibeze did absolutely nothing. He must be released to go back to his family. Samuel Chimeremeze Nwafo must be released. He must be released to go back to his family. You have held him there for God knows how long, but you must release him. Freedom fighting is not a crime. Or you should take him to court and let the court sit on his case. It is very wrong when you claim to arrest somebody. I don't take the person to court. Keep the person detained. If I Onyenso as well must be released. You must release them, take them to court. You don't just kidnap people and disappear them. That is why we say that the zoo called Nigeria is a criminal state. Because what they do is to kidnap people and they disappear them. If you claim that you arrest somebody, why not charge the person to court? Why keep the person inside and be extorting money from the person, be extorting money from their families? Why? In Biafra, we have somebody called Derek Warbo. He was just in his farm. As a farmer, he was just in his farm. And because one or two persons pointed him that, oh, this one is a Biafran. He believes in his freedom. He's fighting for his freedom. He went and picked the innocent man. Until today, Derek Warabo has not been charged to court. He's just one out of many in which they go to their workplaces and they pick them. They go to where they're working and they pick these fellows. They won't charge them to court. Some of them will not even know what have happened to them. Derek Warabo must be released. You must release these fellows. If you think they were involved in any form of criminality, then you must take them to court and let the court decide. You don't just keep them, kidnap them and keep them in custody and be punishing them and be suffering them. And that's what the zoo called Nigeria have been doing to many of our people. They'll come to people's houses at the middle of the night where they are sleeping with their family. They'll pick them, put their children in trauma. And most of these men that come to pick people, they'll be maxed. Some of these people never return home. They'll carry them. Sometimes they will hide them somewhere. When their people go there to look for them, maybe go to those police stations or DSS stations or whatever, to look for these people that they have kidnapped, they will tell them that they are not there. They'll say, oh, so the person is not there. But the person is inside.
They'll say they are not there. And they will keep looking for them. They will say that they are not there. Meanwhile, the person is there. If that person is lucky, at the end of the day, the person will be found by his people. Somehow, they will get to discover that he's there. That is what the zoo have been doing. That is what the zoo have been doing. Why? Because they think that as they've held Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that the way to silence this movement is by picking IPOB members one after the other in Biafra land. They believe that no matter what, one after the other, they will pick every single person that believes in the movement in IPOB, pick every single person. And funny enough, there are some people that want us to be quiet. When you talk about it and you say that somebody somewhere has been kidnapped by the zoo forces, they get angry. They get angry at you. You expose that the zoo forces killed somebody, they get angry at you. Are you part of them that you're getting angry? Are you working with them? Why are you angry that we're exposing the zoo for their evil activities against the Biafran people? Why are you angry? Why are you picking a fight? Why? Or is it the other time when we'll expose that the zoo are the ones committing crimes in Biafra land? And they want to put it on the head of other people so that they can have the opportunity to claim that this person is so, and so. That's why we went to kidnap him. But there are some people that you would think are supposed to be fighting for freedom. They will be the ones fighting you for the fact that you expose the truth. You expose the reality of the zoo against the Biafran people. Derek Warebo is just one of the people. There are many others. I don't know now if the number has increased, but by the special grace of Elohim, I'll keep getting the names, and in subsequent broadcasts, I'll be announcing the names. I'll announce their names on air so that they will know that we know, and nothing must happen to those people. You must release them. You must charge them to court. If you think that they have done something wrong, then you should charge them to court. Charge them to court. If you think that they are criminals or whatever, then take them to court and prove it. Because you have no proofs. You have nothing. You keep them there. And be doing illegal interrogation. Be torturing them. Intimidating them. And they say that there is human rights in this world. There's human rights in this world. And the zoo have the power to do whatever they want to do. And nobody is calling them to order. Nobody is asking questions. Nobody is saying anything. Because they are Africans, they are black people. So they should die. They are black people. Their lives mean nothing. They are worthless. Well, I don't blame Asians or Europeans or white people, whatever, that treat black people with disdain. Because black people treat black people with disdain. Even people from your own locality, provided you don't agree with them, they will treat you with disdain. when a human rights offense is being committed against you, they don't care. Uncivilized folks, they don't care. Even if the person is your enemy, a human is human. The human right must come first. But no, because you do not agree with the person, then anything goes. Anything can be done. You know, when a society have become used to slavery and enslaving, the society becomes, the average mindset of people becomes abnormal. The way Africans think is not normal. Some of you think the way you think is normal. The way you think is not normal. The problem is that you're not animals. You're supposed to be advanced creatures. Your mind is supposed to be much more advanced. But your minds are too wicked. So your minds are advanced in wickedness. And you think you're good. You don't even know, you don't even realize that you're wicked. Because primarily you're not the one there doing the torture. You're not the one there killing the people. So you think you're good. But you're supporting those that are killing the people. You're not doing anything to stop them. You're not discouraging them. You're not blowing alarm. You're not shouting and say, hey, something evil is happening there. No, you're not. You're quiet. Because it has nothing to do with you. There is one video I watched of a particular man, a particular lecturer. He walked into a room. He walked into the lecture hall and he asked the lady to leave the lecture hall. He asked the lady to leave the lecture hall. And the lady was like, he said he's not going to repeat himself. The other people in the classroom kept quiet. They said nothing. They didn't ask him why. If their minds were working well, if their minds were correct, if their minds were working the way it's supposed to be, they were supposed to ask him, but sir, can we know what she did? What did she do wrong? Why did you send her out of your class? If it transfers from her to them, to that other person and says, you to leave my class, the right thing for the other people in the class to do is for everybody to stand up in protest and leave the class. Then he will teach himself. He will teach himself. Then at the end of the day, he will come and explain why he had to ask that lady to leave the class. But no, they kept quiet and he taught them something. He said that this is the same thing that happens in the society. When something doesn't affect you, you keep quiet. And you think you're okay. You think you're safe. And that is how we breed tyranny. Because it is not me. It is others. It is them. Then I'm fine by it. I have never had that mentality from my childhood. I have fought many battles that's never concerned me. But because I knew that this is injustice, I am not in this movement because it is just our people. It's because primarily, first of all, I'm aware. Maybe if it's If it is some other African people somewhere else that needed to fight for their freedom, I would have been somewhere supporting them. I've always done that. That is just who I am. I don't condole injustice. I don't condole evil. I don't. I think Elohim taught me by himself, because I remember when I was a child growing up, then inside the house, you walk barefooted because the house is tiled. So walk barefooted. I remember one day I saw fish bone, a particle of a fish bone on the floor. And most people are walking barefooted in the house. I saw it. Nobody have complained that the fish bone pierced them. So I saw it, and I was like, oh, this fish bone have nothing to do with me. I have seen it now. Oh, thank God I didn't step on it. I have seen it, and I won't step on it. I didn't pick it up. I could have picked it up and disposed of it, but I didn't pick it up. I went my way. It happened that when I was coming back, I forgot that there was a fish bone there, and I walked right into it and stepped on it. And it pierced me and injured me. As a child, I cried. And more of that cry was because I saw the fish bone and I did nothing. I cried bitterly because I could have saved myself, but I didn't. Funny enough, I didn't learn. After I got healed from that, some months afterwards, similar thing happened again. I saw it. I was like, oh, this time I'll be more cautious. I have seen this fish bone. I don't need to dispose it. I have some other things to do. I'm more busy with the play I want to go and play. I went to play my play, finished what I was doing, came back. The fish bone, no other person stepped on it. I still walked right to the fish bone without realizing that it was there. Forgetting that it was there, I stepped on it the second time. And I cried even more than I cried the first time. And each day I saw that injury, and it was difficult for me to walk properly because it was under my feet. Each day I see the injury. Each time I try to walk, that it was difficult for me to walk. It grieved me more. It grieved me much more. And why did it grieve me? Because I could have saved myself. From that day, I learned a bitter lesson. Anything you see, any evil you see that can destroy another person, because you think you're safe from it, does not mean that you are safe. You must discard the evil, or else it will destroy you as well. That was a message I learned. From that day, I never, ever see anything that would destroy a man, a woman, a boy, or girl, that I will not rise up against it, that I will not stop it. It became part and parcel of my life from childhood. It made me, it affected the way I see life and everything. It made me not to condole evil, no matter whose ox is God. And that is why I am the person I am today. That simple lesson I learned that hurts me twice. Actually, it happened the third time, And when I saw it, I picked the pieces of the bone and I disposed it. He should have learned. And that lesson remained with me till this day. And that is why I can never, ever mix the truth with lies. Never. I can never do that. No matter how powerful you think you are trying to oppress me and all that, I can never mix the truth with lies, because lies will always destroy. Most especially when you're talking about lies that are fed to the society. It will always destroy the society. And when you are part of that society, the destruction will come to you. There are some countries that spend lesser money on security. Why? Because their politicians are not telling too much lies. And they are using their resources for the people. They're using the wealth of the nation for the citizens. So everybody is engaged with something, and everybody is useful to himself. So crime rates becomes reduced. The security are there, of course, to enforce the law, but crime rate is reduced. Nobody wants to take the huge sacrifice to commit crime, because crime takes a lot. You can lose your life as a result. Nobody wants to commit crime when they know that they have everything prepared for them, other options. Other options prepared for them. But all these criminal states like the zoo and some other contraptions in Africa, in the Caribbean and all, some of them think that they can eat their cake and have it. You tell lies, you steal from the people, deny them their rights, deny them what should go to them. Then you begin to see insecurity everywhere, and you're wondering where it is coming from. Why would it is natural? There must be insecurity. There must be crime, because people will survive. And those who have the guts to do anything that they want to do without caring about others, they will go into crime. But if they are engaged, they will avoid crime. And you spend less on security. And when you have more people, if you see a place where there is more crime, it's because there are too many lies. There are too many people that the politicians are trying to suppress. Look at the black community in the United States. Crime. Why? Because they are trying to suppress them. Trying to suppress and suppress. Bringing policies to suppress the people. What follows? Crime. That is how it is. When you want to destroy people's minds so that you can have control over them, what follows? Crime. Because their minds are destroyed. But when you teach them who they are, you teach them their dignity and why they should respect themselves. You know, what makes people to go into crime is because they have no dignity. They don't respect themselves. They have no respect for them, for their own selves. That is why they go into crime. That is why people go into crime. Because they have no dignity for themselves. No dignity for themselves. They don't respect their own selves. They have no value for their lives. They have no value for their name. They have no value for the family that they come from. They don't care what name they bear. They are destroyed. It is only people that are destroyed that destroy their society. And most of the times, it is people that have the opportunity to lead in the society that can set the pace so that you don't have a society of people that are destroyed. When you have a society of people that are destroyed, in turn, they will destroy the society. And you begin to spend so much money on security. Well, the zoo doesn't care. Even the people in the security, they are very, very happy. They want crime to increase. Because when crime increases, they can demand for more money. Security votes. A demand for more money from the government. The government gives them more money. And the crime continues. They love the crime. Most especially those that are at the helm of affairs of the security. They are not going to the battlefield to go and fight. They are not going there to face these criminals head on, or those involved in the insecurity. They are not going there. They are sending other people. They are sending the foot soldiers that are very foolish. They will send them to go and kill themselves. Why they take all the money and give them peanuts? So you want to spend less on security? The key is justice. At this juncture, we shall be calling it a day. Thank you very much for listening. This is Biafra Radio. And my name is Kimiowei Tari Nemi. I am your host for today. And we have dealt with the topic, civilization and justice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you.